So, in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcast at a later date over the Lunenburg Public Access channel. And the Zoom link is included in the agenda, as well as the meeting ID. This meeting will be broadcast at a later date through the local cable access channel and on the Public Access Facebook page in the link in the agenda, and will be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. And so the first thing that we do is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So the next thing that we have on the agenda is public comment on prior issues. Anyone here or online have public comment about prior issues? All right. Excellent. Keep moving. Chair's report. I have no chair's report. Student representative report.
Actually, can I do a public comment?
Sure.
From the board?
Go for it.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I got two things, and they're both appreciation. Number one is thank you. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I wanted to say thank you to Lunenburg teachers. I don't have a way to accurately convey how appreciative I am of all the teachers in this district, and the way that you influence our children and take care of our children, teach our children. It's amazing. So I did want to say thank you. Lunenburg's strength really lies, as a district, really lies in our teachers and staff. So thank you. And the other is thank you to everyone who came out for town meeting and voted for the override. It was really good margins. It was great to see so many people there participating. So thank you to everybody who came. And the election is May 16th. You can vote early. You can vote at the town clerk's office, and you can vote early as well. The hours for the town clerk's office are online, but you can vote early. You can vote starting now. You can go to the town clerk's office and vote, or May 16th at TC Passios.
I agree with both things Laura said. I wanted to make a shout out to the Lunenburg PTO. The PTO is a great organization in town, and they've done great work over the last few years. I've been an active member. I've stepped back some now that I'm here on the school committee, but we've raised over $25,000 for the schools in the last 2 years. And there are a few open positions on our board. We've had some people who've been involved for many years who are stepping back. And so there is a meeting. It's the first Monday of June, and it's here in this room, the project room. And I'd encourage anyone who wants to be involved to come and participate. Even if you don't want to run for for a position, a leadership position, any help is appreciated. And I do want to thank all the parents who've been involved and teachers over the years, because we've really been able to raise a lot of money and have a lot of fun events for the kids. So, but we're at the point where we may not have enough people to operate. Yeah.
Anybody else? All right. Then we look for the student representative report. I'm not doing this right. That's it. Here, hold on. Looking for the student representative report. Student representative is not here, so we go to the review and approve minutes. The ones that were in our folder were from 3/18/26, and I would look for a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from 3/18/26.
I'd look for a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye for myself. That passes. Review and approve line item transfers and warrants. Line item transfers, warrants, and donations.
There are transfers.
Oh, there are.
There are.
Come on up.
Yeah.
I feel like you just added those.
I feel like we're on the prices, right, Chris? So before we get started, can you explain to everybody what a line item transfer is?
So you're just moving money from one budget line item to another to cover either a deficit or an overrun of the line.
So, like, if you were equating this to, like, household expenditures, it's like you plan to buy new tires for your car, but as it turns out, you didn't need them, so you put the money elsewhere.
Correct.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Good evening. So a lot of the transfers tonight are just cleanup of lines that have run in the red. The first one that I'll go over is to cover the high school office supply deficit line. We're going to take $28.23.
I know, but I can't.
Liz, can we mute people?
I'm in a different line.
Thank you.
We're going to take $28 from high school $28.23 from high school memberships to cover the deficit for high school office supplies and materials.
What does high school memberships normally cover? What kind of memberships?
So I'm not sure, just because we haven't used it this year. Do you know, Mr. Santry?
It might be NHS or different school clubs.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse.
No, that's fine. The next line item transfer we're doing is for $45. We're taking $45 from graduation expenses to line item accreditation expenses. The next one, and probably the biggest one that we're doing, is we're shifting a bunch of the line items around to cover the substitute budget to actual usage for the year. So we're going to be transferring $38,351.20 from PS long-term subs, kindergarten long-term subs, high school long-term subs, kindergarten subs, primary school sped subs, elementary school sped subs, and middle school sped subs to primary school regular substitutes, elementary school long-term substitutes, elementary school regular substitutes, middle school long-term substitutes, and middle school regular substitutes. The next transfer, we're going to be transferring $4,724.38 from middle school sped paraprofessionals to ACE paraprofessional to cover the ACE special ed paraprofessional deficit that we have right now. The next line item transfer, we're transferring $9,063.45 to ground supplies, to maintenance of ground contracted services.
Do you know why?
So for that one, what happened was in the beginning of the year, the line items were transposed and the amount for supplies was put into the contracted services and the one for contracted services was put into supplies. So that's just a bit of cleanup right now.
Oh, that's a very reasonable explanation. I wasn't expecting it to be that simple. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. The next line item transfer is to cover custodial clothing allowance. We're transferring $42 from maintenance overtime to the clothing allowance account. The next line item transfer is for $391 to cover athletics new equipment. We're transferring from the equipment reconditioning account to the new equipment account for athletics. The next line item transfer is to cover athletics dues and fees. We will be transferring $295 from special detail athletic events to athletic dues and fees. And the last line item transfer is for $245.73, and this is to cover the lease of the guidance software. And we're transferring that from the high school guidance supplies to the high school lease of guidance software. Sorry, I know there was a lot tonight.
We have a lot of lines.
No, this
Yeah.
is, so this, a lot of this is the end of the,
Just
a
end of
lot
the year, just to clean it up, to see where we're at, to get a better idea or picture where we're at for the year.
And this also helps us avoid another
overage, yes.
Like we did last year.
Correct.
So it's, I'm really happy to see all those.
Have you discovered any unspent money?
Not
Any
yet.
significant amount?
No.
That's good.
Yeah, it looks like most are pretty small amounts. too.
Yeah, the most except for the subs and
Yeah.
I believe it was the paras.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's more.
Those are the largest ones. And I think the ground supplies one.
Yeah.
It's good to see all those zeros and that we're
Yeah.
leveling
Spending
out
our-
and that we're
Yeah.
keeping such a close eye on it because this did not get done as diligently last year.
Yeah, there'll probably be a lot more to come in the last quarter for the fiscal year.
Yeah, I'm expecting like next month we're going to see
A lot.
a bunch more as you continue to do this because this is what good budgeting
Looks like.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like when accountants stick the landing.
Okay. That's all of them.
That's all of them for tonight.
Motion to approve the line item transfers as just outlined by Mr. McNamara.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pass this down and get the, you'll have to sign it.
Oh, good.
We have donations. All right, so I'm going to go through and make sure I don't miss any. So the first donation that we have is from the Lunenburg Women's Club, care of Jane Hall, somebody that we all know and think is wonderful. She is part of the group of emeritus people that I consult with when I don't know what to do. So she is donating gift cards totaling $215 on behalf of the Lunenburg Women's Club to be utilized for students after consulting with principals. And I would look for a motion to accept this gift with gratitude.
Motion to accept this gift of gratitude.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye for myself. Okay, the next one. I think I know who these people are, but just to make sure. With my last name being Sloan Green, I'm sensitive. Turkey Hill Elementary School is receiving a gift from J. Byrie and D. Chapdelaine in the amount of $2, right?
Looks like it's $20 and $50.
So a $20 check and a $50 check. It does not have an intended purpose or use. I would
I
look
can
for-
tell you the intended purpose of use. It was donations in the memory of Ann Brisson, who was an elementary secretary for many, many years and recently passed away. So that's what these donations. You may see more donations coming forth, but these are the two that we received before this meeting today.
If I would have looked at the next page.
Oh,
Thank you, Liz.
and do you want to say her name for those who, because Liz wasn't mic'd. It was in memory of Ann Brisson, who was a longtime secretary who was an elementary school secretary. I just wanted to say that.
Super nice. I'd look for a motion to accept these two donations with gratitude.
So moved.
Is this second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye for myself. The next one is a donation for box tops for education. This is for $17.10. Where? Name of the donor. Box tops for education. That's the. Which one is the?
That's done by the elementary school and the primary
Okay.
school, mostly, and the middle school, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's an amount of $17.10. I would look for a motion to accept this gift with gratitude.
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor?
Yes.
And I for myself. The next one is also from Box Tops for Education. And this is for the Turkey Hill Elementary School. It's a donation in the amount of $14.30. And I would look for a motion to accept this one with gratitude.
So moved.
All in favor? Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I for myself. All right. Those
And
are all-
thank you to those parents who downloaded the app and scanned we already signed these, and scanned their box tops.
And I just want to say, it's awfully nice to receive donations in memory of people. I still remember the secretary of my elementary school. Her name was Dee Brown, and I had a nun for a principal. And whenever I got in trouble, which was frequently, I remember Miss Brown telling me, it's not going to be that bad. So,
Hannaford's is also doing a thing with your receipt. You can scan the code, and then you can send it to one of our schools.
oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know
Excellent.
if it's just for the month,
think-
but I've done it 3 times already.
Oh, cool.
So they give you like a printout, and then you can, there's a QR code. And the money goes directly to the school.
Excellent, thank you. That's good. Is there anything else under item 7? I think we're done. We have warrants,
You would only do the warrants.
and I've signed and reviewed the warrants. Line item transfers have been reviewed and approved, and donations are good. All right, we're on to superintendent's report.
So I am acting on behalf of Dr. Jody Fortuna tonight, and I have her superintendent's report, so I am reading it as if I were her. So we can do a little bit of magic here. Okay, so dear members of the school committee, I want to begin this week's report by extending my deepest gratitude to the citizens of Lunenburg who took the time to attend our recent town meeting. I was absolutely thrilled to be present for the proceedings. Witnessing democracy in action right here in our community is truly an inspiring experience. The active engagement, thoughtful dialogue, and dedication to the future of our town are what make Lunenburg such a remarkable place to live and learn. Speaking of special moments in our community, I had an incredibly bright spot in my week when Officer Monroe stopped by my office to introduce me to our newest 4-legged team member, our new comfort dog, Cash.
Yay.
I cannot express enough how excited I was to meet him. Cash is an absolute sweetheart who is already bringing so much joy to our spaces, and I know he will be an invaluable resource or invaluable source of comfort and well-being for our students and staff alike. As we look ahead to the future of our district, I am excited to share that over the upcoming weeks, we will be unveiling pieces of our educational vision. This vision has been thoughtfully crafted to guide our decisions, practices, and growth moving forward. Central to this vision is a concept I have been speaking about over the course of the year, being one community. I recently shared with our staff that building a habit of daily, genuine gratitude is the very foundation of this concept. One community means we recognize that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. It represents a deep sense of connectedness, shared responsibility, and belonging that extends to our students, families, local neighbors, and our staff. While we have been focusing on this shared identity all year, this week I specifically called out to the staff the core values that underlie one community. At its core, it means that we are guided by unity, a shared understanding that our entire district is working toward the same goal, support, a commitment to caring for one another and ensuring our teachers and staff feel supported through both successes and challenges, responsibility, a collective duty to help, nurture, and uplift our students and our teams, inclusivity, a culture where everyone who walks through our doors is welcomed exactly as they are, ensuring nobody gets left behind, and love and respect, the foundational values that dictate how we interact, lead, and collaborate every day. As part of living out these values of support and unity, I want to update the committee on a new initiative. This week, I provided my cell phone number to our entire staff, at least the ones that read my weekly newsletter, so they can reach me directly. I encourage them to text or call me for a few specific reasons. Invite me in. If they're having a great day, doing a cool project, or just want to show off their workspace, I want them to text me and invite me over. I want to see them in action. Share a win. I ask them to tell me when something great happens, whether a student finally masters a tough concept, a colleague goes out of their way to help, or they just had a really fantastic Tuesday. I want to celebrate with them. And tell me what's in their way. I need to know what roadblocks are keeping them from being the absolute best possible versions of themselves at their jobs so I can help clear the path. I did include one small caveat for them regarding the last point. I told them they don't need to text me about the budget. We all know about the budget. Unless their text says, hey, Jody, I just found a buried pirate treasure under the bleachers and it solves all of our funding issues, we can safely assume the we need more money box is already firmly checked. Jokes aside, my goal with this initiative is to ensure they know I am truly here to support them. We are all on the same team, working towards the same goals. Before closing, I want to share a few brief updates on district operations and staffing. First, our custodial negotiations are officially kicking off this Thursday with our initial meeting. We are also still working to secure dates for the upcoming cafeteria meetings. So if the committee members who are on that team will let Jody know when they're available, she would appreciate it. And additionally, on this Friday, there will be a residency launch at Harvard University, which will provide some valuable guidance about the roles and responsibilities that Jody is going to have as she continues to mentor her doctoral intern, Johnny Reed. We are thrilled to welcome Johnny to the team, and he will officially be starting with us on June 1st. I'm sure Jody also wants to talk about that this week is Teacher Appreciation and Nurses Appreciation Week, and we do keep all of them in mind and how much they are of value to our district. And she looks forward to sharing more of our educational vision with the committee soon and to continuing our work together as one community.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Does she need to know our dates during the school day or afterwards?
I would say both.
Okay, all right.
Usually it's after because
Yes.
The one for the custodian starts at 3 to 5, so I think
That's
anything
what I was
after
a little-
3 would be.
Okay, all right, that works. Okay. Going to all right. We are on to new business, and the first thing that we have is a hearing under school committee policy 5803 regarding student government elections. And so here's what I would like to do. I know that there are people here on both sides, and I know that the agenda has it for 5 minutes. I don't think that's fair. And so what I would ask is that the committee allow for this to essentially be an extended presentation. I would say that we should give both sides 15 minutes. If that seems reasonable, does that work for everybody? Does
Yep, that's fine by me.
that work for everybody?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Mr. Santry, does that work?
Sure, I wasn't prepared to
No, just,
give a presentation.
no, you're good, you're good.
15 minutes would be fine.
Okay. So we could do it in 15 minutes. So I'm happy to do this anyway. Anybody wants? Mr. Bowen, if you would like to do it, or Mr. Bowen Senior, if you would like to do it, or you want to do it together, it's fine with me. Whatever you guys
So
want.
we actually have it split. And
Sounds
I
good.
actually kind of try to condense it into 5 minutes
Well-
for the most part, but for questions and things like that, we can go longer if you like.
I think it's really important that we do this. So.
Oh, I do too.
I want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. The other thing is, I know that this came up, and this was something that we worked very hard to put on the agenda, given that it's timely.
I know.
But if either side wants more time, we'd happily do it next time. But if you want to do it today, we can do it today. I just want to make sure everybody feels comfortable and prepared.
I'm prepared today.
Okay, are we good?
Tim, prepared today.
All right. So traditionally, the appealing party would go first.
Yes.
And so I'm happy to have it, if you guys want to come up to the.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, just so everyone is aware, I sent an email to Mr. Bowen. I'm assuming that Mr. Bowen shared it with his son. I also sent it to Dr. Fortuna. The scope of the issue, and I'm happy to hear whatever you want to present, but the scope of the issue is about the appeal policy and then the discretionary grant given to the school principal based on the Massachusetts statutes for principals. I believe I want to say it's Mass General Law, Chapter 71, subsection
59B, I believe.
B, yeah.
Yep.
All right, so how do you guys want to go?
He has a presentation first that he just
All right.
wants to offer.
Okay.
Say who you are.
I'm John Bowen Jr., and before I begin, I would like to hand you all, members of the committee, a copy of what I am going to say tonight.
Thanks, John.
Stand up, please. Respect.
Good evening. My name is John Bowen Jr., 162 Highland Street. I am a junior at Lunenburg High School, class of 2027. I am here tonight as a student who ran for class president of the class of 2027, and I am here to speak about the matter listed on your agenda tonight under new business action item A, the hearing under school committee policy 5803 regarding the student government election. I also want to know, I also want the committee to know that my father, John P. Bowen, is here tonight. He has filed the formal written appeal that is before you, and he is here to advocate on my behalf as my parent regarding the issues in the present matter before this committee. I am grateful that he is here. He taught me that when something is wrong, you don't walk away from it. You go through the right channels, you make your case, and you do not quit. So let me tell you what happened. Our student council constitution requires 15 classmate signatures to qualify for the class president ballot. The nomination form given to every candidate printed the heading, 15 signatures of his or her classmates. I read that heading. I understood the rule, but the form itself only provided 14 lines. I noticed a discrepancy. I did not ignore it and turn in 14 signatures like everyone else. I added my 15th signature in the margin in plain sight and submitted my nomination paper in full compliance with the written rule. 15 signatures as required. When I raised the issue that other candidates had only submitted 14 signatures, the school's response was to change the standard mid-election, to decide after the fact that a 14 could count for everyone this cycle. The rule was not amended. No process was followed. An administrator sent an email and the requirement was simply set aside. That is not how rules work. But the process problem runs deeper than that. When my family appealed to Superintendent Fortuna and asked for her to reconsider, she convened a meeting to discuss the matter. But the people she met with were the incumbent student council members, the very students whose ballot eligibility was being questioned. She met with them privately, without me present, without giving me an opportunity to be heard in that room, and then used the result of that meeting to deny my appeal. I was the student raising the objection, and I was the only one not in the room. I want to say that plainly to this committee. An administrator asked the candidate whose eligibility was at issue whether the rule that would disqualify them should be enforced. They said no. And that answer was used to decide the case against me. I don't believe that is what fair process looks like, and I don't think any of you believe that either. Rules are rules. I am not here because I am angry that I lost. I am here because the rule existed for a reason, to make sure every candidate for student office demonstrates genuine support from their classmates. I followed it, and following it should mean something. If the rules can be set aside mid-cycle whenever it is inconvenient, without process, without notice, without giving the student who raised the concern a seat at the table, then they don't actually protect anyone, including the next student who reads the rules and trusts that they mean what they say. Here is what I am asking of this committee. I am asking you to review the record my father has put before you, the appeal letter, the correspondence, the constitutional provision, and the policy cited, and to make a ruling based on what the rules actually say. I am asking you to recognize that the process by which the superintendent's second decision was reached was not fair, and to say so. And I am asking that whatever decision this committee reaches, it be one that every student in this district, whether they are on the inside of things or not, can trust was made the right way. I spoke to this committee once before, as a sophomore, my first year at Lunenburg High School. A former member of this committee told me that night that I had delivered one of the most poignant speeches, public comments he had ever heard in that seat. I was 16 years old, and I was asking for the same thing I am asking for tonight, to be heard and to be treated fairly by the institution I am a part of. I am 17 now. I have spent 2 years showing up for this school and this town, through NHS, through the flag staking initiative in our cemeteries every Memorial Day, through the homecoming float, through 2 years of work in this community. I am not asking for special treatment. I am asking for the same treatment the rules guarantee to every student: equal application, fair process, and a decision made the right way. My name is John Bowen Jr. I am a member of the class of 2027, and I am not done. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Mr. Scullenbrady, Ms. Brzezowski, Ms. Gilman, Ms. Young, Ms. Fortuna not being here. You can hear my words. It's okay. It's fine. I'm sure she's going to watch it because she's very thorough.
She is very thorough.
Absolutely. My name is John Bowen. I live at 162 Highland Street. I'm here this evening on behalf of my son, John P. Jones, junior at Lunenburg Middle High School, and a student in this district. A student just as those of you on this committee have students in this district. The framework that I'm here to discuss is one that this committee has authored and applied to every student in your care, and the standards I will ask you to apply tonight are your own. Several of you on this committee have known me in one capacity or another over the years that I have been involved in this town and these schools, and I'm respectfully asking each of you to set aside whatever your personal sense of me may be, favorable or unfavorable, and to consider this appeal on the procedure and policy record that I have placed before you. My son's appeal does not depend on your view of me. It depends on the documentary record, the controlling policies, and the controlling statute. That is what I am here to address this evening. You have heard my son speak about the merits in his case in his statement this evening. I will speak to 4 points of policy and law that are properly before this committee under Policy 5803, which is the appeal policy, which is known as Step 4 by this department. First, the doctrine of Scrivener's error has been misapplied. Just so you're all aware, all these documents were just recently sent to your email. In her May 4th final denial, the superintendent characterized the discrepancy on the nomination paper as a classic Scrivener's error and used the doctrine to justify accepting 14 signatures on the form. With respect, that is opposite of what the doctrine does. The Scrivener's error doctrine is a doctrine of correction, not relaxation. Where a printed document contains a clerical inconsistency, the doctrine directs the reader to give effect to the rule the document was intended to express. That is key. And to treat the clerical inconsistency itself as the error only to be corrected. Applied here, the doctrine produces one outcome. The printed heading, 15 signatures, this is a quote from the document, which you have a copy of in my original appeal. It says 15 signatures of his or her classmates. This states what the rule was intended to require. The 14-line block beneath it is the clerical mistake. Now, properly applied, the doctrine requires the rule to be enforced, not waived. I would also note that the Constitution itself, in the bylaws, Article 3, which is the bylaws of the Student Council, instructs candidates that they, quote, I will say, adhere to the instructions therein, in their bylaws, meaning the instructions printed on the official nomination paper. My son adhered to those instructions. He read the printed rule, not the line count, and he complied with it. The Constitution's own text vindicates his reading. Second, neither the controlling statute nor the Constitution's own amendment procedure was followed here. The superintendent's May 4th decision relied on Mass General Laws, Chapter 71, Section 59B, for the proposition that the principal possesses the right to grant temporary waivers, and I quote that. That phrase does not appear in Section 59B. The statute is a structural provision describing who manages a school. It does not in any sentence authorize a principal or anyone to waive the duly ratified bylaws of a student organization mid-cycle. And the same statute the superintendent cited as the source of the principal's authority is the source of her own, and I stress that, supervisory authority over him by its plain terms. The principal manages the school, quote, your rules, subject to the supervision and direction of the superintendent, statutory. The clause that empowered the principal and the clause that places his authority under the superintendent's supervision are part of the same sentence, and so both halves apply. The local framework reinforces this. Policy 2200, your policy, makes adherence to school committee policies and superintendent directives a condition of every principal's employment. Policy 5221 requires student organizations to operate, and I quote, within the framework of state statutes, school committee policies, and administrative procedure. Not around that framework. And critically, the student constitution itself, at Article 7, if you read it, you have a copy, sets out the procedure for amending or revising any bylaw. It says, in order to amend or revise this Constitution, there must be a 2/3 vote of approval. Article 7 further requires that, quote, council members must be informed at least 1 week prior to the time of voting regarding any proposed amendment or revision. Article 8 also requires a 3/4 vote of approval for ratification. The superintendent's this election cycle only waiver of the 15 signature requirement is, in functional terms, a one-time amendment of Article 3. The Constitution has a procedure for amending these articles. Particularly, what we're talking about here is Article 3. That procedure requires written proposal, 1 week's advance notice, and a supermajority vote, and none of that occurred. The district has not just disregarded the bylaw, the district has disregarded the rule that governs how the bylaw is changed. Third, the due process principle, which we all hold dear under the 14th Amendment to our Constitution. And this district itself has adopted that, but that was not honored. After my son requested reconsideration, the superintendent convened a private meeting with members of the student council in secret. The body whose incumbent candidates and ballot eligibility was the very subject of the appeal and used the result of that meeting to deny reconsideration. My son was not invited. He was not informed the meeting was occurring. He was excluded from the room where his own appeal was going to be decided by the superintendent. The Lunenburg High School Student Handbook contains a section titled simply Due Process. That section reads, and I quote, in Goss versus Lopez, the United States Supreme Court held that before a student receives a disciplinary penalty, they have the constitutional right to receive oral and written notice of the charges against them, an explanation of the evidence against them, and the opportunity to present their side of the story. Well, I know what you're all thinking. This district may argue that this language sits within the disciplinary section of the handbook, and therefore it applies only to suspensions and expulsions. With respect, that misreads exactly what the handbook is actually doing. The handbook is articulating a constitutional due process principle. Goss versus Lopez is a 14th Amendment decision, and the same principle is reflected in Article 10 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, of which every citizen, including our children, are entitled to. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, through CMR 603, Section 53, in the broader regulatory framework adopted under Mass General Laws Chapter 71, has built the entire architecture of student procedural protection on due process principle. The principle that a student must be heard before an adverse decision is rendered against them is not discipline-only principle. It is the procedural floor the legislature has set, the regulations have implemented, and the district has explicitly adopted. The district's own grievance policy, policy number 5803, which we're here before you today on, requires that student concerns be resolved quickly and equitably. An equitable resolution requires that both sides be heard. This is one further point. Article 6 of the Student Council Constitution provides that all meetings of the council are open for observation and appropriate comment by any member of the student body or the faculty. Interesting. The May 4th meeting the superintendent convened with council members was not open. It was private. Either that meeting was a student council meeting, in which case it should have been open under Article 6, and the appellant should have been able to attend, or it was not a student council meeting, in which case the superintendent's description of having consulted, quote, in her words, the student leadership body responsible for these bylaws, okay, mischaracterizes what occurred. Either reading raises problem the committee needs to address. Fourth, and this point I want this committee to sit with just for a moment. The district has held my son to a standard that this district itself did not meet. The Lunenburg High School Student Handbook articulates the value system this district applies to every student in this building. I'll quote it directly. The best decisions for managing student behavior are based on a value system that maintains the dignity of each student in all situations. Behaving responsibly is more valued than behaving obediently. The handbook then lists guiding principles every student is expected to follow. Among them, respect each member of the school community. Be considerate of the rights of each member of the school community. My son did exactly that. Exactly what those principles ask. He read the rule on the nomination paper. He recognized the discrepancy between the heading and the line count. He did not behave merely obediently. He did not just fill in the 14 lines and hand it in. He behaved responsibly. He complied with the printed rule by adding his flipping signature in the margin. He raised the issue through the proper channels in the proper order. To the advisor first, to the principal, then to the superintendent, and now we're here before you, the committee. He did not act out. He did not retaliate. He followed every responsibility this district places on a student in his position. The district has not shown him the same care in return. The principal waived a rule he had no authority to waive. The superintendent upheld the waiver. And when asked to reconsider, the superintendent did not extend to my son what her own handbook articulates as the procedural minimum every student is entitled to. The opportunity to present his side of the story before the decision was made. Members of this committee, I want to say this, and I say this plainly. The institution that wrote this handbook did not follow the principles of this handbook in this case. This is not a small thing. When a student does what the handbook asks, and the institution does not let the lesson, the institution does not, and the institution does not, the lesson that this institution has basically sent, okay, to that student, that's this student right here before you, and to his classmates who some are sitting in this room at the moment, and to every student who's watching and will watch this, is that rules are advisory for adults, but they're binding to children. That's not a lesson this committee should let stand. Not in this case, and not for the next student who reads the handbook and trusts that it means what it says. The request before this committee. Article 3 of the Maine Student Council Constitution states plainly, all powers of the Student Council are delegated to it by the school administration and or school committee. It's in their bylaws. Evidently, it's been approved. The bylaws the council ratified are an exercise of authority delegated by this committee. When the authority is set aside without the procedure the council itself adopted, this committee is the body that has the standing and the responsibility to address it. And I reiterate, the principal is your voice in the school based on the direction of the superintendent. This evening's hearing is the Step 4 review under Policy 5803. The full administrative record has been before each of you since May 4th. Accordingly, I'm respectfully asking this committee in tonight's deliberation to do three things. First, find the superintendent's May 4th ruling exceeded the authority granted under Mass General Laws, Chapter 71, Section 59B in Policies 2200 and Policy number 5221. And was reached through a process that did not afford my son the due process this district has itself adopted. Second, to direct that the Student Council Constitution as ratified be enforced according to its terms. And third, to instruct the administration that any future modification of student government bylaws must follow the amendment procedure the council itself has adopted in Articles 7 and 8 of their Constitution and bylaws. And I'm prepared to answer any question that this committee may have, but I will note one final thing for the record. If this committee does decline to act on this appeal, the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education operates what they call the problem resolution system for written complaints alleging non-compliance by school districts with state laws, regulations, and policy. And this is the administrative law I talked about in the beginning that you are required to follow, and so is the principal and the superintendent. I would much prefer, though, that this matter be resolved here. I tried to resolve it with the principal. I tried to resolve it with the superintendent, and here I stand before you. But the path forward, I have it documented, and I'm prepared to follow it if the institution closest to the student here, which would be you, the superintendent, and the principal, declines to do so. And I can take any questions from anybody if you have any.
Sure. So first of all, I want to say two things. Number one, anybody that would treat your son differently because of anything that you have done or not done is someone that I would never listen to. And I don't think anybody on the committee would countenance that kind of behavior. He is a person in and of his own right. And like you were told many times by your children, they don't pick their parents.
Nope.
And so there's no way anything that you did or didn't do should flow to John Jr.
Absolutely, and I agree. Wholeheartedly, but it had to be said.
I agree.
It had to be clarified.
Yeah, second.
Because there are people on your board who think differently.
Second, I want to say this. I think that John Jr. did an excellent job making the argument.
Thank you.
I think you did a good job. I think he did a
He
good
did a
job.
good job.
He was very, very to the point. Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions.
He's too technical. He's too real.
Yeah,
We're totally different.
Yeah, so let me ask you a couple of points. So 5803 is the grievance and, complaint and grievance policy, but it is not an unfettered right to appeal. There are at least two provisions in the policy that limit appeals. So the first one is contained in paragraph 2, and it talks about a different policy for student discipline. So we are in agreement that you are not appealing as a matter of student discipline, but under 5803.
So here's the thing. So the mention of student discipline is basically to highlight that nowhere in your manual for students does it say anything about other due process besides disciplinary. And I wanted to make it clear that the Massachusetts Constitution and the Declaration of Rights, as well as Amendment 14, provides due process, as well as DESE, okay, through their CMR and regulations. But you don't mention that, but you quote the case that does mention that. So what I'm saying is my son's not under discipline, but the statute for which you quote, you haven't fulfilled its full obligation.
I don't think anybody would ever dispute that people are entitled to due process.
Correct.
That
was why it was raised.
That is foundational.
It's the only place that talks about
all
discipline.
processes. So there's no question that due process.
And the case is controlling, which means it goes
well,
across
Matthews
the board.
v. Eldridge is the case that controls.
Well, yes, that's the other one.
And so the question is not whether you're entitled to due process, but what process you're
entitled to.
Right.
Correct.
And so here's my question.
And this process is an administrative action.
Yeah. So it says appeals of disciplinary cases will be required to follow the district's policy on student discipline. So this policy is not a general right of appeal, 5803. By its own terms, it is not a general right of appeal. Is that correct?
That's not true, because
it does not control, it does not say anyone can appeal anything for any reason, specifically delineating student discipline. And then if you look below, it says it is the purpose of discussion and appeals procedure to provide access to appropriate school officials within a reasonable time. It is not the purpose to provide a forum through which trivialities, irresponsible action, or unrelated school issues are conveyed. So again, there's a second limitation on the right of appeal. So my question as a threshold matter is, does the right of appeal under 5803 exist in this case?
Would you mind? I need to read.
Sure, go ahead.
5803. So I have it on the computer. So under 5803, I'm not in disagreement with that. And again, what I'm saying to you is that DESI's CMR in regulation, okay, has actually, a provision, okay, for which an action of due process must be followed. And it's interesting that this department didn't provide one.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is,
in whole and in context.
how do you get to us if the limitations on the right of appeal are as outlined in 5803? I'm not saying he doesn't have due process right.
Well, there's 4 steps to be able to appeal before you get to DESI. So you have to go through, obviously, there's the informal. Then there's, with the advisor, which he did.
Okay.
And then there's the semi-formal, which is, or should I say semi-formal? I don't even know how to say that, Mr. Santry. Okay, but there's the appeal to the superintendent. Okay, and then there's the appeal, the appeal to the principal. Then the appeal to the superintendent. So in the context, okay, of the process, to be able to continue to further a complaint in the event of denials, it has to go through the local school district. I don't know if you know, but I'm in politics here in town. And the first thing that your senators and representatives say to you is that we don't get involved in town matters, okay, that the town handles it themselves. If the town fails to handle it and is negligent with regard to state matters, then the state will handle it. So in order to get to DESI, you would have to go through you. And whether you provide a provision...
That's not how you appealed. No one appealed in that manner. The appeal that you filed with us was exclusively under 5803.
It was.
And so my question is, how is this not
You're going to make me hammer down 5803.
How is this not...
I have you.
The purpose to provide a forum through which trivialities, irresponsible actions, and unrelated school issues are conveyed. I don't think the last 2 phrases apply here.
I don't think so.
The question is whether or not this is something that 5803 contemplated as an issue that could be properly appealed to the school board. And that is this a triviality? I have, you sent us material, I did research. I have my own opinion about whether or not this constitutes a triviality, but I think that it's something that we have to address as a threshold issue.
I agree, and I thank you, and I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, because you're taking that direction as chairman of this committee, okay, on your own, okay, on your own motion, okay, so I appreciate that. But I do want to say that there is under 5,000, 5,800, and 5803, okay, you have basically complaints and grievances, okay?
Yep.
So there is a complaint and a grievance process that's followed and so forth, okay? The section for which 5803 has been mentioned says it basically is incorporated. Look, we're not going to say that your committee over the years has been the most organized. Okay? We're not going to say that, but we're going to be cognizant of that.
You may lose credibility if you say that.
We're going to be cognizant of that errors happen, right? But again, you know as well as I do, okay, when the errors happen, right, you recognize the error and you immediately take a vote to correct it. And when you correct the error, then the error is corrected. But you're not going to know if there's an error unless somebody brings an issue to you and you go, why don't we have that written down?
Can I ask John Jr. a question?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. He'll talk.
This is the issue that is important to me as a threshold matter about whether or not this falls in the limitation clause that is at the end of page 1 of 5803. John, is this a matter that you view as a triviality?
I don't view it as a triviality. I think it's my father can obviously explain the law portion of this, but as I stated in my remarks, that rules are rules and they should be followed, and when they aren't followed, there should be a process to get it fixed or the problem solved, and that's why we're here today.
Okay. Is it important to you?
I think it is because we get taught at school, rules are important, and then now rules are being bent, and that contradicts what we're supposed to be taught at school.
Okay.
But they're being bent midstream during the process. So, and in the interest of the argument is this. Well, I know it's not fair to you because you follow the rules, but it's not fair to all of them.
Okay. So
let's see the point.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, and either John can answer. Your contention that decisions were made outside the presence of the candidate as somehow being a violation of due process doesn't seem to match. We have jurors that make decisions about people's lives all the time in confidence. We have entire proceedings where people are subject to grand jury indictment where only one side gets to go. No one else goes. In fact, your proceedings are sealed, both at the grand jury and at a petit jury. And so the idea that due process mandates that everyone have equal access to everything at all times has never been true, even in the most serious instance.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
I don't disagree, but may I
Sure.
comment? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with that, okay, about how due process is handled. But what we have here is a format. We have a set of constitution and bylaws on that format, okay? We have a set of rules where the principal has no authority to make a decision that belongs to the superintendent under 59B. That's statutory. Okay, he does what he's told. And I'm not saying that. She entrusts him, obviously. But what I'm saying to you is that, you know, she is the one that is the ultimate decider, okay, of how something is supposed to occur. She is the one that gathered a student council together in secret and did not allow him to be heard. Now, in the handbook, it says equitable treatment.
I mean, let's be clear. It's not in secret because we're talking about it right now.
Well, it's not in secret until I found out after the meeting.
Right. You just meant that it was a meeting in which your son did not attend.
That's in secret.
Well, no.
That's in secret. That's saying
okay.
about notifying him, notifying me that you were going to convene.
The nuclear passcodes for the United States nuclear arsenal are secret. Having a meeting where someone did not attend, but people know that is not a secret. So I just want to make it clear. Like, I understand your point, and I don't think you need to prove that it's
I'm not
secret.
trying to say that it was done, if you listen to what I said, I didn't say that it was done maliciously.
No, I agree.
It was done misunderstood.
I agree.
Okay? And but even though, if something is done misunderstood, okay, the harm is already attached. And you know as well as I do that when there is irreparable harm, okay, that attaches to something as a result of an action or failed action of an individual, okay, then, you know, there is some restraint that has to be handed down to be able to prevent that harm from continuing. And what I'm saying to you is that the harm that's been done here is that the student, my son, followed the rules, and the school turned around and changed the rules.
Okay, let me ask you this. My understanding is that John was not barred from running.
He was the only one qualified.
Okay, but there was no harm done. He was allowed to do what he wanted to do.
Well, there is harm done. Do you want me to get into it? Because I'm not allowed to mention it.
Oh, that we'll deal with that later.
There's a bullying issue, which I raised to Mr. Santry, and he still hasn't decided to answer.
That is not the matter that's before us, and that would not be subject to
I understand that, but again, there's an issue. So you asked the question, I was just trying to reiterate it, and I'm not going to discuss it any further.
Okay.
But because you opened the door, I entered.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the language in 7159B. So the way that I read this statute is that the second sentence describes the scope and authority of a principal. And it says, principals employed under this section shall be the educational administrators and managers of their school, and shall supervise the operation and management of their school and school property, subject to the supervision and direction of the superintendent. And I think that provision gives Mr. Santry a significant amount of authority. And I'd say that for two reasons. Number one, it uses the word shall twice. As we know, in legal parlance, shall is a mandatory word as opposed to a recommended or proviso word. And then the second thing is, it says subject to the supervision, which means that the superintendent sits in a supervisory capacity, but not as someone that is giving their authority to him. It is not a delegation of authority. It is a supervision of his authority. And that means that it's different. So in the first instance, using the rules...
But I think may I clarify just for a minute? I don't want to interject because
you're good.
I'm following your through line.
Yeah.
I think what you're misunderstanding is that when I quoted 7159B, I basically was quoting the fact that there's already an existing set of bylaws that he just overrode, okay, that were already ratified by student council, which hold the rule of law. So under
But it doesn't hold the rule
administrative
of law.
process,
It's an
he's already approved those bylaws.
Right, but we agree that regulations are subject to statutes, which are subject to constitutions. That's the way and so
Correct.
if the statute says Mr. Santry shall be the educational administrator and managers of the schools and shall supervise the operation operation of the schools and manage the property, that rule would trump whatever student bylaw exists.
That is not true.
Why?
So the thing is that, like I
Wait a
said,
minute.
is that
Mr. Bullock, you are not contending, on the record, that the student government of the high school of Lunenburg can override Mass General Law. That is not what you are saying.
No, but
Okay.
but what I'm saying is that Mass General laws and your interpretation of Mass General laws, and if you read the case law behind this particular subject, okay, you have a rule here as a school committee, okay, that gives the superintendent in the hiring power and direction complete 100%.
That's
control
not the only
over
thing
his
it does,
action.
though.
So talking about the superintendent is the one, okay, who gave authority to Mr. Santry to make the change by denying the appeal that I gave her and agreeing this. So what we're talking about is, we're really not talking about Mr. Santry, okay, outside of the effect that Mr. Santry is the one who acts in place of in I guess you could say,
That is not
in
true.
respect to the
That
superintendent.
is not
to
true,
operate
and that
the
is
school.
not what the statute says. It is not a delegation of authority. It's subject to the supervision and direction of the superintendent.
Correct.
He is not delegated authority by the superintendent. He is appointed by the superintendent and supervised by the superintendent, but his authority comes directly from the statute, and the statute would trump student government.
But there's a hiring policy in town which
Sure,
follows
but
statute,
we can't-
which trumps
we can't-
statute.
we
So
can't
it
pass
trumps
down
statute
ordinances
because in
that
order for you
trump
to have that
state.
policy, you had to have that somehow legally applied before you could even write it with your own lawyer, which means your own lawyer had to certify that that policy was valid. You have your own lawyer, and you wouldn't have that policy if your own lawyer didn't sign off on it, which means that he did the due diligence to make that hiring policy, okay, to make sure that it complied with statute. So we're not here to argue statute. That's not our job. That's not your job. That's your council's job.
No. This is our job, to figure out whether or not the principal acted in conformity with the delegation
But
of
now with
authority
regard to the
given by the
interpretation
statute.
of statute in a rule that was created in your policy on hiring. We're not here to be able to talk about that because the hiring process says that Mr. Santry shall answer to all duty and direction of the superintendent.
But that's not what the statute says. The statute clearly
But that's what
says
your policy says.
that doesn't matter.
It does matter because
No,
the
the
policy can't be written.
school policy cannot trump statute.
It cannot,
There is
but
no
it cannot
argument
be
that a
written
reasonable
unless it
person can
complies
make.
with statute.
No, that is not true. Policy contradicts statute all the time. Bad policies or poorly written policies do not trump statutes. And statutes say, and the second sentence says, that he shall, the principals employed under this section shall be the educational administrators and managers of the school and shall supervise the operation and management of the schools and their property. What I'm trying to ask you is, how is the decision that he made not something that is subject to the grant of authority provided by this statute?
Let me explain. The superintendent's decision relied on 59B, okay? Okay, for the proposition that the principal possesses the right to grant a temporary waiver of an already established rule that he already approved, okay? Which is the bylaws, okay? That phrase does not appear in 59B, if you notice, that he can have a temporary waiver of some rule of some student organization. Student organizations, and Mr. Santry can testify to that, right, have their own set of rules and circumstances. National Honor Society, for example, which my son is a member. They have certain rules, correct? Okay, you have football. They have sports. There's certain rules, correct? Okay, so the rules that apply to student government still apply. Can Mr. Santry overrule the sports rules?
Yes.
No, he cannot.
Absolutely,
because
yes.
the sports rules,
There is no question under the statute he can.
The
There is
sports-
no way to read that statute and not see him as the administrator and manager of the school. It is what it says. This is not a matter of interpretation. This does not require any nuance. It just requires an understanding of English. He is the manager of the school. He is the administrator of the school, and he manages the school and school properties. He can make a rule that would override the rule of a student organization. There is no question about that.
So when it comes to he's subject to the supervision and direction of the superintendent, and the superintendent is the director, he's the manager, she establishes the management policy.
That is
and then
not what
hiring
the statute
process
says.
For him to follow, which means she directs.
That is
his
not what the
actions.
statute says. It says subject to the supervision and direction of the super. It does not say that she directs him. It says that she can provide a direction to him. But either way, that part of this.
Well, they're part of the same sentence. In the
Sure,
statute.
but what I'm saying is the first operational control mechanism, according to the statute, is the principal. And so the question I have again is, what allows a student organization rule to overrule a state statute? And I don't think that there is an answer.
I think what we're talking about is, okay, I think what we're doing is here is, Mr. Scullambria, is that because the two of us, okay, kind of think on the win-win side with our legal background, okay? And I think what's happening here is that we're not really focusing on the issue. The focus on the issue is the handbook. And I think what we're saying is that we're not looking at the handbook, which identifies what the school says it promises the student that it failed to give them. And I think that the argument is not so much as the statute and who's right and who's wrong in interpretation. We could leave that up to the judge, okay? Have there be a judge. Do you know what I'm saying? What we're looking at is what you put in a book and allowed to be in a book, and whether or not that was fair and equitable. And if that was not fair and equitable...
Okay, that's a great point. That is a good point. I want to ask you this question. How is, if we are saying that there is a right accorded to your son based on...
You can't say a right.
Well, I mean,
a duty.
A due process right.
Correct. A duty would be more important than a right. A right would be something like constitutional.
The distinction between duties and rights no longer exists under U.S. Constitution.
I know that.
Okay.
But
so,
not for people that are listening.
Okay. So suppose we assume that John has a right, and it's a due process right about how this is played out. For every right, there has to be a remedy. The remedy here that you're asking for is the invalidation of an election and the elimination of all other candidates. How is that an equitable solution?
Well, see, that's where you have to draw the line, right? So let me give you a scenario. I'm an AP history student. I get handed a document that says you need to do these things at the heading, and all the rules are there. And then in the body of it, I leave it open. What do you follow? What the rule is, correct? Does it matter what's in the body? The form. The rule is at the top. The rest of the form, whether it's 14 lines, 13 lines,
Mr. Bone, I'm saying
10 or 12.
Assume for this question that we agree that there is an error. I don't think that we...
But it's not a Scrivener's error.
Well, whatever the error might be.
That's what I got told.
I do think it could count as a Scrivener's error.
It can't count as a Scrivener's error because the rule is not what the mistake was in.
No, Scrivener's errors don't work like that. That's not how the doctrine of Scrivener's errors work. Okay, so let's assume for purposes of this question that there was an error. And let's also assume for the purposes of this question
there is not an
that
error.
he has a right.
The error is in the students reading the directions.
Sure, fine. Let's just say that there was an error. Let's just say that he has a right. How is the remedy that you are requesting proportional to the mistake? And that's what due process focuses on.
Okay, so the purpose of student government, let's talk about that for a minute. You're in government, I'm in government. The purpose of student government is to teach what? Government. Right?
No, the purpose of government is not to teach anything.
No.
Okay.
No. The purpose of student government is to teach them about government, how it operates, how it functions.
I think it's to provide governance of student affairs. I don't think that they're actually getting educational credit as members of student
government. But it's not so much as educational credit as it is extracurricular experience.
Sure.
So when you look at it, you have a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary, you have a council. Okay, so you have all the aspects of a executive and legislative branch, okay, in the operation of student government. What is that teaching a student? That's teaching a student about what? Government structure.
Sure.
Right? It's teaching them about what? Policy, how to write policy, create bylaws, create rules, right? Engage in fundraising, compete in elections, compete. That's the key. Compete, okay? So, when we compete in football, we win. Let's go up there and win. Yeah, we won. Look at us. We got a banner. We put it up in our high school, right? Pride, right? It's there. Lunenburg Pride, okay? Well, an election is competitive in and of itself, isn't it? You got to get 14 signatures. You got to get 113.
How many signatures, Mr. Bone?
14. No, I'm using his.
No.
You got 14 signatures. Hold on. This is the new rule. You get 14 signatures. What's the difference? 14, 15. What about 13? What about 12? What if we do 10? In the spirit of the moment.
But what I'm asking is,
Isn't that what
how
it
is
said?
the remedy proportional to the wrong?
The remedy proportional to the wrong is called competition and merit. Did you follow directions and get an A on the test? No, because you didn't follow directions, so you got a C.
Answer.
That's how you teach. Okay, children.
I think we can also teach that people make mistakes, though, right?
You can teach that people make mistakes, but when somebody catches a mistake, you penalize them. No, you penalize them.
But
Where does it say, right, where does it say that he did a good job that goes in his school record?
But how is he
Hold on,
penalized?
that goes in his school record. Let me explain. My son's trying to go into the United States Naval Academy. Okay? Let's put this on the record. In order to be a member of the United States Naval Academy, you need to stand up and show leadership. Okay? You need to show character. Okay? You need to show a number of different things. Okay? On the record.
But leaders make mistakes as well.
So, but they don't care
People,
about.
humans
Hold on a
make
minute.
mistakes.
Pete Hegseth does not care about your mistake. So, let's
Pete
be
Hegseth
clear.
has nothing to do with getting into a service.
What I'm saying is that it does, because he has already been made presentations to his representatives and senators and to the vice president. So the thing is that it does go to that to some extent, but that's not what we're here doing. What I'm trying to show you is that colleges will look at what's on your record, but not look at what isn't on your record. So even though he found a discrepancy and he found a way to fix it, they went and turned around and said, oh, well, the rules don't matter, right? Competition doesn't matter. This isn't like a real election. We're playing dollhouse like we were when we were 5. Boys played with dolls, girls played with dolls, nobody cared, okay? And that's basically what this is turning into, okay, is dollhouse games. And the reality is this: merit matters. Merit matters. My son found a hole, called it out, was competitive, put signs up, had them torn down on him. Okay? He did all these things to actually actively engage in a competitive environment. And because he was competitive, the superintendent says, oh, I know, but we have to make sure that everybody else can win too. Everybody gets a trophy, right? Not what's competitive. He read the rules.
Wait. We're not talking about the outcome of the election.
No, I'm not
That's
either.
not the issue.
No, the rules. The rule was written, clear. It was right above the line. 15 signatures of his or hers. It's very clear. You have the document. It's very, very clear. There is no question. It does not matter if there's 14 lines. Okay? Imagine a multiple choice question that says all of the above or just A through C. Which one do you check? Do you know what I mean? You check the one that you read for the answer. He read for the answer. The rest of them didn't read for the answer. And that's not something to say for paying attention to details, which is what's taught in school, to pay attention to rules and to follow directions. That's not being rewarded here. Instead, it's being divided. The reality is this an extracurricular after-school sort of activity? Kind of, sort of, right? Which means that what? Competition can be there. It's not him sitting in a classroom with other peers, okay? In a classroom. Because you just said it. Oh, well, okay. So this is an outside extracurricular situation, okay? Which means that so is in football, so is in soccer, so is in lacrosse, basketball, and that means the better guy gets to play more. The better guy gets to win. The reality is he found it, he exposed it, and then you change the rules on him midstream. He could change the rules next year.
But wait a second. If we're talking about performance, then it's a different issue. You're not saying my son won the election. You're saying everyone else should be invalidated as candidates.
They could have held off the election and self-corrected it, did they? Nope.
But again, I still think.
I mean,
that
that's,
the requested
think
remedy
about it.
here
I
is-
mean, if you want everybody to be in the dollhouse crew, like I just mentioned at 5 years old, where boys and girls would play with dolls, okay? You have no problem with it. Nobody cares. Nah, whatever. Okay? Nobody cares, okay? That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a dollhouse game, okay? What we're talking about here, we're talking about somebody who acted meritoriously, somebody who found, okay, something, somebody who reported it, okay? And then the school turned around and said,
Can I ask you a question
well,
about
we don't have to follow
the
it.
timing? The report happened after the
Election was announced today. Who won?
I have no idea.
Just saying. Election was announced today. Who won? Okay, that's irrelevant. Okay, because we're not here on that.
No.
Okay.
That's the competition.
So, no. So the competition is basically, if you really want to look at it, one person. Okay, so that would be a 1-to-1, but the schools also.
But
I
I don't want to get into the election because like I don't really
I
know
know.
or care who won. I just wanted to ask you one last thing. You had talked about the PDEC. The Secretary of Defense and Secretary of War have never had the authority to appoint people to a service academy. So Pete Hegseth has nothing.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about that.
Okay,
I was talking
I
about
just want to be
merit.
clear.
I was talking about merit. I was talking about, we're not going to put people in here, okay, that we're going to babysit. We're going to put people in here who are detail-oriented, people who are disciplined, people who are forthright and forwarding and leaders.
Did the other candidates make the ballot?
Did the other candidates make the ballot? You'll have to ask Mr. Sanders
Like,
when the ballot.
who made the
got in.
form? Like, I'm assuming it wasn't them.
Oh, I'm sure it was the advisor, but
Okay.
irrelevant. The rules are on the top. Doesn't matter what's in the body. You don't read the directions, you don't get a good cake when you pull it out of the oven.
I mean, you could.
Well, you can eat it, but I mean, I wouldn't present it to anybody if you were trying to hold a birthday party with your kid and it was like sagging in.
Lots
They'd
of
be like,
people
"Wow,
cook
what is
without.
that?"
Lots of people cook without. Okay. Anyway. All right, Mr. Bowen. If you have anything else to add, I'm happy to hear it.
I only have one thing.
John, if you have anything you would like to add, you have been very patient.
There's one thing.
Sure.
Just to sum up very briefly what my father has been trying to explain to the committee today is that we're here on a matter of things being unfair. The fair and equitable thing to do would have been disqualify the candidates who did not obtain the 15 signatures that is required per the Constitution that was very clearly labeled on the nomination form. And what would have happened with that is there would have been vacant seats for quite a few positions. But then the next step for that would be to hold a special election, and that could have been done. But now we're here, we've gone through the proper channels, and we're up to this point. But that's why we're here tonight, to discuss a fair and equitable process, and that's what could have happened, but it's not what happened.
That was a really good answer.
Because he's not you and me.
That was a really good answer.
He's not you. He's got
All right.
17 years of like nothing in the world.
I'm not giving you advice, but I'm saying if I was going to go out on a winner, that was the winner.
Touche, John.
Is there anything else you want to say?
So anyway, that's good. Right, so anyways, so overall, right, my interest is, okay, not to harm the other kids. I just want to surmise that, okay? It wasn't done for that purpose, the reason why this was raised, okay? It's meritorious, okay? He followed the rules, they didn't. That's the bottom line that we're looking at. He informed early. He informed on Friday. Election wasn't until Tuesday. And everybody, all the grown-ups, obviously we should probably listen to him, right? So all the grown-ups, okay, went, okay, I asked. He asked first. John sent emails first and said, hey, they should actually be disqualified, you know. And Mr. Santry said, no, I didn't get involved until, was it Monday? He sent emails.
When were the forms due?
Huh?
When were the forms due?
They were due April 28th at the end of the day, 2:35.
Which day of the week was that? Was that
April 28th.
Yeah, everybody looks at your calendar. We all merge days around here.
It's been a long week.
Nobody
April
knows
28th
what
is a
day it
Tuesday.
is.
April 28th was a Tuesday.
It was last Tuesday.
Right.
Okay, and then on the,
He didn't know about the signatures until they went up and did their speeches.
On the 30th.
The school puts out their signature form to show that they qualified as candidates.
It's all on the state.
And then they give a speech on a table.
Okay.
So when he looked, he went, and he comes home and he goes, Dad, none of these people can run. I go, what? He goes, none of them got 15 signatures. I go, what are you talking about? And he had to explain the whole thing to me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so then they're disqualified. So send Tim an email, tell him what you found. And he did. And this is why we're here today. And we're here today because he found the discrepancy. Ms. Guerin even came to him at an annual town meeting and asked him what he wanted to do, right? Mm-hmm. What did you tell her?
I told her I'd think about it.
He said, I'll think about it. And he was reasonable to do that, and he thoughtfully thought about it, and he said, no, I got an A. I won. I found, the rules were not followed. I should be commended for that. But instead, everybody's attacking him for that.
I'm going to commend him right now.
Right. I knew you would. I know you all would. I mean, listen, Tim's commended him. Okay, Dr. Fortuna's commended him. Right? But that's not in his academic record.
It's not easy to do the right thing and stand up to authority. I totally get that, and I appreciate it.
Oh, you don't know him.
All right.
My son, he stands up to me all day.
Is there anything? That's called biology. Is there anything else we want to say?
No, I think that just in closing, I just want you to know, right, okay, that the application of how this was handled was mishandled. And that the due process that my son didn't get, right, clearly is inside your rules to be able to have it remanded and have it taken care of.
I heard that argument.
Okay, and, and the last thing is, is that you can't write bylaws, accept bylaws and rules, okay, and teach these children that, one person can just wipe that away to make it fair for everybody else. Okay, because that's not progressive at all. That's going back to fascism and Mussolini.
Okay, all right. We're a little far afield of that.
so what remedy are you looking for today?
What remedy am I looking for today?
Yeah,
What remedy is John Jr. looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What specifically?
He'll tell you
what
that.
would you like?
Tell him, John.
What are you
It's
asking
up to
for?
you, bud. I don't say nothing. He makes his own decisions, just so you know. I'm not influencing it or anything. I push him to the level of leadership, but I don't tell him what to think.
Considering the facts of the situation that you all have before you and that you've heard from me and my father, the only fair and equitable solution, given the fact that the election was already held, it was held today, it was held yesterday and the results were announced today, that the only fair and equitable resolution would be to place me as the president of the class of 2027.
All right. Thanks, guys. John, I just want to say I think you did an excellent job.
Thank you, sir. I think you did too.
John,
You know what? I'll go against you any day on the other side of the bench.
Sounds good. Mr. Santry, would you mind coming up to the table? I have one question I want to ask you.
And we'll leave. Oh, yes.
All right. Mr. Santry, so I've reviewed all the materials. I reviewed the materials submitted by John Bowen and his father. I have also reviewed the materials that were sent to us. I have one question, and this is the question that's been really vexing me since I was made aware of this issue. So I think we can all agree that 5803 does provide a way for people with certain kinds of grievances to get to the school committee. The question I have is, I asked them this, and I'm going to ask you on the reverse. How is this not something that's beyond a triviality? I don't think we're in the irresponsible action or non-related school issue. I think we're in that, does this count as a triviality? And I think that some people sitting in the audience, listening at home, up on the committee, they may say, look, this one ballot signature shouldn't matter. But I can't see how, without a better definition of triviality, in the policy, how that they don't at least get here to appeal?
What's your question, Mr. Schoenberg?
What is a triviality?
I'm sorry, my head's spinning a little bit.
What is a triviality? What does that mean?
What is a triviality?
And does this count as a triviality?
I don't think I can answer that question. A triviality would, in educational speak, I guess, would be things that are happening outside the classroom or things that aren't impacting instruction.
Okay. Do you think student government qualifies as something that doesn't impact instruction or happens outside the classroom?
I think it happens outside the classroom, and I don't see a direct impact on instruction.
Okay. And so would your position be that we should not consider this appeal because it doesn't fall within the ambit of 5803?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was the only question I had. Anybody else have any other questions?
I just had one more thing.
Sure.
And I'm not a lawyer.
No.
I'm not here to speak for Dr. Fortuna. The appeal began with me, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of information. In Massachusetts, if a principal were to disqualify students for having 14 signatures, despite the form providing 14 lines, it could be argued as arbitrary and likely seen as an unfair restriction on student rights to participate in school government.
All right.
Rebut that.
You're good. I think
I need to rebut that because
if you want,
the student has a right too. So
if you want to rebut
what
it,
student are we talking about?
if you want to rebut it, let Mr. Santry finish. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I do not.
Okay. If you want to come up, I'll give you like 2
have
seconds.
one comment. That's
Sure,
it.
sure.
My rebuttal to that is he just talked about a student, okay, not being treated fairly. Why is my student exempt? Is this student exempt from fair treatment?
No.
Because that's that statement. That statement says, let's favor the majority and not all. Where is your inclusive and progressive direction? That's what I would like to know. Because if you're separating him from the others based on that one statement separates him. It says, for the many we will do in spite of the one. Right? And Mr. Scalambrini, you and I both follow the same path in life of e pluribus unum. And out of the many, we are one.
That's right.
And that's what this school is supposed to be. That statement separates that. It's not one. That's not fair to this group, even though it's not fair to this one. Okay? So where do you draw the line? You can't. And that's why fair competition is necessary in education. Fair competition. Read the rules, read the directions.
You're not saying anybody cheated in the election? Like no one fake
No,
votes? Okay.
it's the same kind of form that Ms. Garen's been handing out for 7 years, she said to Paul Lane.
Okay.
Okay? But the thing is that, what I'm saying to you is that fair is equal. Okay? And what that statement that Mr. Santry gave does not show equality.
But they all got to participate in the election.
But
correct?
it's not
He
about
wasn't told
participation.
that he couldn't
They
be
all
part of
didn't
it.
follow the rules, and what would be fair is they all follow the rule.
But also, he wasn't excluded from the actual election, though. He was still able to participate, just like the other students, correct?
And that's a very good point. You're absolutely right. Here's what would have happened. The disqualification would have defaulted him, just like on any election, you write in somebody's name or whatever, it defaults to that person. So what material loss does John have? He does have a material loss. So what's unfair is that because other students didn't follow the rules and read directions, and John did, John's going to be penalized because he saw the rule, he corrected it on his own, fixed it on his own, took the step forward on his own, which would have resulted in the disqualification of the incumbent, which would have landed him where? And you all ran for an election. You think you go before Kathy, she says 50 signatures, and you show up at 49, and she's like, don't worry about it. You see my point? It's the same situation.
I just want
But
to
then I would have went and got that last signature.
So for 7 years.
So it would have still been fair.
But they didn't do that. They passed it in on the day that it was due, and then he did the same thing, same time, same day. He didn't say anything. Why? Because he didn't think anybody was doing it. He didn't know until Friday. He had the ballots in early. his numbers in early, his speech, everything in early by a certain day, or that's it, you were told. And when he went for the speeches and he looked at all the signatures, he was like, there's a problem here. These people don't have 15 signatures. How do they run? What's fair?
So for 7 years, students have been running for student government with only 14 signatures?
That's what Mrs. Gearing told me at annual town meeting, and that this problem has probably persisted for 6 or 7 years.
Well, I commend you for finding that error, being the first one in 7 years. You should be very proud of that.
That's what I told him. I said, what? How many years?
So one thing I want to point out, the law does not require fairness and equality to be the same. There are all sorts of examples in the law.
Yes, that's
fair
correct.
treatment is different than
But your
equal
handbook
treatment.
says different. Your handbook uses
Right.
fair and equitable in the same sentence.
Fair and,
They're two different.
yeah, so I'm not.
You use it in the same sentence.
Yeah, I'm not.
Fair and equitable, meaning that they're tied one to the other. So you have
Well, they're
fairness.
related, absolutely, but they're
You
not.
can
the
have
same.
something be fair or equal, or you can have something be fair and equal.
That's correct.
Yeah. So
Fair and equal is a higher bar. So what's fair or equal, right, would be the situation that Mr. Santry said.
I mean, you can have something be
What's
equal
fair,
and be
fair
unfair.
and equal would be what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't exclude nobody because somebody is harmed and has a material harm. He has a material harm. There's a material harm. You know, he wasn't elected, just so you know. He didn't get elected, but you know what? He's been told.
But he was
But he
just,
wasn't
he was in the
excluded.
election, right?
He was in the
Okay, so you did get to run in the election.
Yes.
So there was no exclusion in that way. I
No.
hear what you're saying about the meeting and the conversations and stuff like that, but the actual election.
Oh, no.
He was not
No,
excluded.
Jim's not gonna, are you serious, really? They're gonna,
Well,
but
that's
I
what he
am gonna
said.
say
I
that.
just
wanted
wanted
to
to
be clear about
verify,
that.
I
because
am
we
going
were
to say
talking
this. My
about.
son ran on a platform of more inclusiveness with other students in student government, right? As well as he ran for National Honor Society president, and by tradition, Mrs. Miller told him he had to take his signs down. Do you know?
We're not
What
going
I'm
to do
just
that.
saying
No,
is
no, no,
that-
no, no.
is that on
Beyond
that
the scope.
premise, I'm sorry, but on that premise, okay, on that premise, right? And listen, she's great. Okay, so on that premise, right? Sometimes tradition interferes with fairness. Do you know what I'm saying? And what happens all the time interferes with what's right, and we get comfortable. Do you understand? And that's not unreasonable to acknowledge. That's reasonable because we all do it. You know, we go to the same coffee shop every day. We go, you know what I mean? We get comfortable in our routines. And the thing is that doesn't make it a bad thing. But my son ran on the platform to make changes in that because he saw it happening. He saw that it was like this group and that group, and he's like, why isn't there more people showing up? And then he found out that only certain people can go to certain meetings of student government. And he's been trying to go for 2 years, and you know he can't get into the meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, this is student council only. Oh no, these are the executive board members only. Oh no, you can't come here. No, you can't. He's been excluded. So he ran on the platform of change last year and this year. He saw it last year. He saw it this year. Ran the same platform. And you know what? We're back to more of the same. Why? Mr. Santry just said it. Well, these kids have always been here and got elected before. So it's good for them, but then, don't worry about it, John. You'll get over it, buddy. And that's what you're getting here, okay? Is that even though you did the right thing, it don't matter. What matters is, did everybody get to be treated fair besides you? And that's the statement that was just made by Mr. Santry.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mr. Santry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this matter under advisement. We'll try to get a written opinion out early next week. It will not be long, I promise. And it will be in writing, so if you want to use it for appellate review, I'm happy to have it.
Okay.
Okay?
No, I get you. Take your time.
Anybody-
No, I don't think you have a certain amount of time.
No,
15 days is like for a brief.
But what I, because of the timeliness
I know
issue,
that.
I want to move as quickly as possible.
Okay, well, whatever you think is, you know what I mean, what you want to do. I know you're not limited to a time frame, but I mean, obviously a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah,
You gotta
I'll
answer a complaint in 20 days.
do my best to get a written
Yeah,
draft
kill
and then send it out so that people can make comments. Unfortunately, because of the open meeting law, we can't deliberate. So what we'll do is we'll have drafts, and then we'll do like the Supreme Court justices do, where we trade back and forth the drafts.
Wow, boy, you just elevated all of this.
No.
It's all on the same
Can't
SEC bench.
Well, I just wait. The stupid open meeting law won't let us talk.
Yeah,
to
we
each
can't
other.
talk to each
Okay.
other.
So we got it. All right. Anybody have any other questions for anybody else?
I appreciate you all hearing us.
I'm really glad you brought this forward. Any of the students in the back, would you like to say anything? You have no obligation to. Kara, you can always speak.
She talks a lot more now, I've noticed.
I would also like to say I remember my freshman year getting my form, realizing that there were 14 signatures. When it was due, I asked our secretaries, I was like, do we have to add an extra line? And they said, no, because this is how it's, like, then we didn't print it right. That shouldn't fall onto the students who followed what was on the form. Students should not be disqualified for running for following what was on the form. John had a fair shot on the ballot, lost to the other candidate.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear who
what
won.
I'm saying is, if we had all been told, go get another signature, we all would have. We weren't told to do that, though. So I think if you were trying to figure out a fair way to do this, it would tell all of us, go get another signature and then run the same poll again. I don't see how it would create that much of a difference.
Are we going to change the form for next year? Okay.
The form is changed for next year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else want to come up and talk? By all means.
Hello, I'm Nathaniel Ailes. I just want to quickly come and say
Nathaniel, can you just, by tradition, we'd state our name and then the address?
I'm a minor. I do not have to say my address. I'm Nathaniel Ailes. I attend this school.
I think we have to.
I'll sponsor him to speak then.
Okay.
I hate that we make them say their address. And also,
I just want to say that I'm a member of student council. I am the vice president of our student council, and all of our meetings are public, and anyone is invited to join. Even John over here came to some of our meetings and has been put on even the attendance list so that we can know that he has attended and keep it on our record. Student government, though, those meetings are intentionally closed off as we are elected officials who are elected to represent the individuals.
they don't have to follow open meeting law, and we do.
No. Let Mr. Ailes speak. Go ahead.
And people who want their voices heard at these meetings are encouraged to talk to their representatives so that their opinions are able to be shared at the meetings.
What if the people don't feel comfortable sharing their opinions with the reps because they don't think they'll be adequately represented?
Oftentimes our advisors, who are seen as trustworthy in many eyes, sometimes bring us opposing viewpoints from other students.
All right. Mr. Ailes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else want to talk? I don't want to give anybody short shrift. Anybody who wants to say something can say something. Sure.
We got all the good public speakers in here tonight.
Hi, my name is Noah Lind. I live on...
I'll sponsor him. Doing it.
You don't even you're,
Yeah, I live on 95 Gilchrist Street. I think the election was fair because people who did not recognize the discrepancy, as it was on the people that did not recognize the discrepancy, they were able to run. It was a typo. It was merely a typo. That's what I'm trying to say. There was not an extra line added to the end of that, and that led to everybody, including John here, where they were able to be on the ballot. And I believe that, regardless, if this thing was, whether it was changed or not, I think it resulted in a fair election where everybody who wanted to run was able to run. And I think the results are valid.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can we clap?
No, we got to get going. This is the longest 15 minutes. All right.
5 minutes, huh?
Anybody else?
There's no one else online.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thanks, all the students, for speaking. Nathan, thank you for pushing back. I'm glad you did that. That was good. John, I commend you in your arguments. John Sr., I commend you in raising your son. We'll get a written opinion out to everybody so that you can use it for appellate review. And we're going to move on now to the facilities report, which is probably less impactful.
Seems pretty impactful.
I want to hear more about the elevators.
I want to hear about the pottery kiln. I want to hear about the kiln.
Chris Stevens, Director of Facilities. How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
Don't have a lot. I mean, just kind of getting down to the end of the fiscal year, so we're kind of just trying to get our things together. I've been talking with Chris McNamara about what we can and can't do beforehand, what we have left in our budgets and whatnot. But a couple of good things. The generator relocation project that I've been working on, we've got numbers back on that. I got a company in there coming back at $46,725 to pick up that generator at Passios, bring it down to primary, pour a tag, wire it all in, take all the electrics from Passios, put them into primary. Done deal for $46,000.
That's
to
a
me
great
is
bargain.
a fantastic deal.
How much would a new generator cost?
What I had the quote before for a brand new one, I think it was $292,000.
That was on the lower end, yeah. It was, Chris, can we, just wanted to verify, we can afford that in this year's?
So I haven't decided if we can afford that.
Yeah, we're still looking. We're not done, but we got something to work with now. We're trying to figure it out.
Okay, I saw that and I was like, oh God, how are we going to pay for that?
Yeah. No, we're
figure
not
it
like
out.
100% on it, but just like we got a number back and it's a good number.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to find
the money to do it.
Exactly.
I so appreciate the cooperation between you and Chris Ruth
He's fantastic.
and the way that you guys are reusing
Yes.
existing infrastructure to get us something for a fifth of the
Yeah,
cost.
and it still works, so we might as well use it while it works.
Yeah.
And then if we have to, get a new one down the road, at least all the work will be done. It'll just be buying a unit and then wiring it.
It'll be
So
ready.
a lot of the labor is already done.
Thank you, and thank you. I think this was a lot of work, so thank you, and thank you for
That's
the
great.
cooperation.
Thank you.
Yeah, also the contracts for the rooftop units here and primary are up. And we've been using Dakin, and Dakin, from what I've gathered and what I've seen, is the reason I think they've been using them is they are on the contract, they're on the state contract, so you can just use them.
You don't have to bid.
You don't have to get the 3 quotes, but I think there's a lot of money to be saved there because Dakin is at the top.
Okay.
So I've got other bids out right now I'm waiting to get back from,
Okay.
to hear from and see where we're at, but I almost guarantee there'll be some savings on that as well. On another good thing, Pottery Kiln has been donated.
Yes, this is awesome.
Amy Monahan and Scott Berry Grove have ponied up, it was, I think, $100 to purchase this kiln from the De Cordova Museum.
Wow.
And so they ponied up the money, we've got the space. I talked with Jody, she's like, can we use it? I'm like, we'd be stupid not to. I'm like, if anything, we'll just take it, put it next to the other one. If one of them fails, we have another one ready to rock. If not, we can wire them in and get them working in tandem if we can, so. I got a quick cost on that, but he didn't know what exactly that thing needed for power. So he just came in at like, this is like worst case scenario, but I
Is
did
it
get the.
240? Or
It's 240, yes.
Okay.
I think it's, he came in, he's like an assist the parts. He's like the breaker for that to go into that box
Right,
that we
right.
have access to. He's like, it was like a $600 breaker just for the breaker.
Oh, because it's so much power.
But I sent him over, I did get it, I can't remember what it is offhand. And he's like, I'll get you a new number because it's gonna be less than that. Because it doesn't need as much as what we weren't sure, so he's like, this is worst case scenario.
That's a good buy for $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you to them for
So-
jumping on that. That was,
It's like 1/60th the cheapest price I could
Yeah,
buy.
I mean, if it's free for
You get
me,
it.
yeah, so.
Well, that's the expensive place.
We're gonna pick it up. I just told him, talk to me, I think next week or two. I think somebody was on vacation, so we were just waiting until they get back and we can figure out a pickup date and all that.
and
That's amazing.
the art teacher knows it's coming.
I believe so. I've already talked to her and been in there and she's like, oh, she's pretty happy, so,
That's awesome.
Again, we're recycling and reusing.
yeah.
That's great.
On another note, the landscaping for the field out front on 2A here, that came in. Sweets Property Management, they won the bid, and it came in significantly lower than where we were at before.
That's awesome.
So.
Are
that
they
was
Okay.
This was about half what we were paying before.
Yeah, that number had been creeping up. I was getting very worried
Yeah,
about
I
that
mean,
number because if you
They've done a
look at the
great
budget, that was
job,
when
they've
it was
always have
creeping
done a
up.
great job, but I mean, money's money right now, and this is a big savings.
Yeah, so is that the front field, like the JV
The
teams
front, the
play
front
on?
team, the front field right on Mass Ave,
Yeah.
and the two where the
The
bleachers
two.
are and all that. They
Okay.
take care of that whole area,
Excellent.
everything inside the fences, they take
That's
care
awesome.
of.
How are the bids structured as far as, do they go by how tall the grass gets? Like what?
Yeah, they're in the thing, I think it's 1.5 inches they try to keep it at for the playing of the sports. Some sports are different than others, but I think for the majority, I think that was where they all wanted it. That was what was used in the last bid.
Yeah, okay.
So we just kind of kept it with the same things, had all the same square footages and all that stuff, and just kind of kept with that, and it's been working, so we'll just stick with it.
And we got multiple
If it ain't
sports out
broke,
there.
don't fix it.
Yeah, and some of the groups that aren't school related, they all play out
Yeah,
there.
that's
The LISA and.
that is a very big field. It has been in great condition the past few
Yeah,
years. It's
they've been
just-
looking really good.
the
You know? I
costs
mean, there's a
were-
lot more sports going on now. You know, you used to be able to have, spraying off and you could kind of, but
Yeah.
there's spring soccer, fall soccer.
There is someone
You know,
on that
there's-
field all
There's
the time.
somebody on there, yeah.
They were out
People
there,
on
was a bunch of little girls out there
early.
tonight doing soccer in the rain.
But, and so other than that, Grounds is doing what they do. They're out mowing, trimming, spraying lines for all the sports, and that's what they do. Anything else we need from them, they always don't drop anything and they'll get it done. We have a new hire at primary, Lisa Glenny, which I think she was already working, I think, substitute in the kitchen. I think she worked in the kitchen at primary, I think, before, and she actually was, I think, part-time custodian way back before I was here. I'm not really exactly 100% sure, but she fit the bill. She already knew the bill, and she knows where everything was. So anyway, so she's in. So the only position we have open right now is a part-time position here, and I got interviews for that tomorrow.
That's the closest we've been to full staffing since I've been in school committee.
As soon as I get it full, then somebody leaves.
No, it's been a real
Do you feel like the little
challenge.
Dutch boy?
It's just, all right, here we are, and then, nope. So, yeah, other than that, I'm hoping we'll have a candidate after tomorrow for here, and
Wow.
in the next week or two, as soon as I can get somebody on board, we'll be back up to 100%. That's about all I got for now.
I just want to say this. When we did our presentation in front of FinCom and when we did the forum at Eagle House, I mentioned some of the plans that you had about recycling parts, helping us get to ADA compliance, looking for bargains. And I don't know what role it had because I'm not in the minds of the people on those committees, but they were impressed at the efforts that you've gone through to save us money. And it makes it easier for us to say we're doing everything we can when we have you thinking of creative solutions that save us cash.
Yep.
So I'm super grateful that you are doing a good job, and I'm super grateful that you are a bargain shopper.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's really important.
Thank you.
And thank you to Chris Ruth for working so closely
Yeah.
as well.
No,
And
he's great, we both use each other, it works out really good.
yeah, it's great.
Yep.
I would make a motion to, all right, I'm looking for a motion.
Move to accept the facilities and ground report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye for myself.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Chris.
you.
That was excellent, thank you. All right, innovative approaches to literacy grant proposal, 3 minutes. Who is this?
Hi friends, that's me. Hi, thank you so much. So I'm here tonight to request your support for the Federal Innovative Approaches to Literacy Grant. This grant is a strategic investment in our students' future, and I ask that you consider 3 key reasons why this initiative is essential. First, this is an act of fiscal responsibility. We have a rare opportunity to potentially inject $750,000 into our classrooms at zero cost to Lunenburg taxpayers. Second, this grant bridges the gap between vision and practice. Finally, this proposal fulfills a commitment to equity by providing specialized materials for students with disabilities and multilingual learners. We are proactively closing the opportunity gap. So you'll notice in the memo that I sent to you, there is like a little bit more information, and then also at the bottom I do have a motion or a recommended motion. happy to take any questions.
Dr. Sarkty, it's Mandy. I was just wondering, or I was just wanting to let you know if there's any help I can be, again, on the state or federal level to get, if we want to ask for more support and letters, because this is incredible if we could get anything up to this amount of money.
Yeah, so my plan after hopefully getting your approval tonight, my plan was to work on this pretty much all day tomorrow, so I can figure out what we need in terms of recommendation letters, and I'll definitely reach out to you because any support would be much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm always happy to help and make connections, so.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody want to read the proposed motion as their motion?
I move that the Lunenburg School Committee authorize the superintendent and the director of teaching and learning to submit an application for the Innovative Approaches to Literacy Grant in an amount not to exceed $750,000, subject to final eligibility confirmation and compliance requirements. Actually, can I ask a quick question, which is the question I always ask for grants? And I know I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be no from reading it. This grant does not mean we have to expend any money in order to get it, or will it cost us anything?
Yeah, it will not cost us anything.
Okay, that's my question every time.
I'll second it then.
All in favor?
Aye.
An aye for myself, motion passes.
Thank you, Dr. Sarkty, for...
Thank you, friends.
I'm assuming you're the next person as well?
I'm the next person
Oh.
too. We're both. We're a team. We're a team
Got
on this
it.
one. So this is we've brought this forward every year. This is a request from the school committee's approval to submit our intent to apply for the FY27 entitlement grants administered by DESE. And the grants include not only the special education 240 grant and 262 grant, 274 grant if they have it again next year. They did not have it this year. But also the title grants, Title 1, 2, 3, which we got this year for the first time, and Title 4A. You've got the paperwork in your folder. I have to submit these intents by tomorrow, so tonight is a timely vote on them. And we should be hearing mid-summer about what the final figures are. And I think right now, word on the street, Dr. Sarkty, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the special education grants are proposed right now to be level funded for the most part, and a slight decrease in the title grants, right, Kim?
So I would say it's a little bit more than a slight decrease in Title I. It's actually pretty significant. Okay. And then our Title II and Title IV grants are pretty minimal anyway, so I think we won't feel it as much.
Okay.
The title grants come from federal money, and so that's a direct result of
Bad choices at election.
federal funding. Okay.
I make a motion to accept approve the applications for the FY27 DESE entitlement grants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
An aye for myself, that passes. We're now on to the revisiting of the 5th grade consent procedure. So who's presenting this? Do we know?
I'm actually happy to present this because it was my sister who wrote the email to the school committee. So full disclosure, my sister wrote this email to the school committee. She and a few others that I've talked to have requested that we revisit the policy that children are not allowed to get off the bus alone unless they're in 5th grade and they have a signed permission form. You guys have the email in your boxes. For example, my sister has a 4th grader, and she would like him to be able to get off the bus. Her 7th grade daughter used to get them off the bus, but now her 7th grade daughter is playing JV softball and can't do that, and it's hard for my sister to make it home to make the bus at the time. My understanding is that, when this topic has come up in my group of people, family and friends before, my understanding is Air Shirley and Groton Dunstable do not have any requirements about you getting off the bus by yourself, even kindergarten through 5th grade. I don't think she's not asking for that, but she wanted to see, so I did ask Liz the origin of the policy. The transportation policy we have doesn't seem to address it. My understanding from Liz is it was a policy that the last superintendent put in place with some guidance from DCF and others about, when kids can get off their bus by themselves. And legal counsel. So I don't know how folks would like to proceed, if it's something people have thoughts on. I mean, my proposal would be that we allow kids from Turkey Hill 3 through 5 with permission to get off by themselves. For example, a lot of people work from home, so trying to get off a meeting to like walk down to the end of the driveway might be an issue. I live in a very long driveway, so, you know, it's not like I can just stick my head out the window and let people know that I'm home. Also, there are parents, I mean, I think with parent permission, you know, knowing I have another friend who works in another school district, does not want to pay for after-school care, has a third grader, would like the child to be able to get off for 10 minutes before she gets home. But that's kind of where we're at. So it's weird because it's not really a school committee. It's not a current school committee policy. It's a policy that was put in place by the last superintendent. So I don't know, is this something we want to have a policy on, or do we want to like?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually not a policy at all. What it is just a consent waiver.
A procedure.
Right. So it's not in our transportation
Right.
procedure. It's not in a policy. But it was done because the former superintendent felt that it was too young at the primary school age to allow even siblings to get their younger siblings
Right.
off the bus, because potentially there could be a lot of problems with that happening. So she went to legal counsel and she went to DCF and she got guidance from both, and legal counsel drafted what we have now as the 5th grade consent form is what happens. So
Yeah, and I don't know how much people on the panel deal with this, but I have a 5th grader and a 2nd grader. My 5th grader can get off by himself, but his 2nd grade brother cannot get off with him because that's the current policy.
Procedure.
You have to be in 5th grade and to get off by yourself. No, but if you're in 6th grade, you can get a sibling off. But if
Did
you're
this-
in 5th grade, right?
I remember when this went into place, and it was a little bit controversial because people wanted to have their kids get off the bus without parents. Did the school committee discuss it, or was it a superintendent?
No, we discussed
no,
it.
the school committee discussed it.
That must have been your first year.
Should we maybe table this until Jody is back to weigh in?
Yeah,
on
this
it?
is
Because
a-
I mean, I have strong opinions on it, but I'm not the superintendent.
Why don't you tell us your strong opinions? I would like to know.
I remember when this went forward with our prior superintendent, and it was a consideration of the age of the student and what could happen if students were alone at home or left off the bus. And whether it's, I understand like a 10-minute is one thing, but who's to say that it's always 10 minutes? And I think that there's some things that are going around currently in the press with young children that have been at home alone, that it has not, there has been some unfortunate occurrences of that, and I would just hate to ever have that responsibility of supporting that. But I'm not the superintendent, and I think Jody may have a different feeling on that, and but I feel very strongly with having an age limit, and I think we did talk to DCF, prior superintendent did talk to DCF, did talk to legal counsel, and 3rd grade is still, that could be an 8-year-old. So, to me, that's still young.
I just think it's strange we're the only ones who have this policy that I know of.
It's not a policy.
Well, it's not a policy. It's a whatever it is that most surrounding towns do not. So why are we worried about it, but other people are not worried about it?
I kind of feel the same as, like, personally.
Yeah.
That was not something I would choose to do, but I don't feel like I should have to decide what other parents are doing with their children. I would choose not to let my 8-year-old
Yep.
get off the bus, but I should just take the bus. But if she did take the bus, get off the bus and go home by herself, or even just walking from the bus stop to home, I would worry about. But that's not really my decision to make for other parents.
In local parentis, is from when they get to their door, or is it when they get off the bus?
I mean, technically, it's when we have care, custody, and control of them.
So when does that begin then?
The door.
Door.
Yeah.
Our door or their door?
Their door.
Their door. So if something happens to a kid who gets off the bus by themselves, and something happens between the bus door and the driveway,
This is a legal question.
that's
for our
on.
legal
That's
counsel.
a question we
Yeah, because I feel like
clarification
this was really well considered back then. And I understand the child care concerns. Do we allow other adults to get kids off the bus? Like when I can't be there and my kid's grandma gets her off the bus and I send a note, so that's,
as long as there's an adult.
Right.
Anyone 6th grade or older is what it is.
Okay.
Okay, because I think we need to talk to the lawyer, because if there is.
I think so too.
Okay, but can I just request, if we do that, I would like examples of other cities and towns that do this, because it seems like, and this is not the first time, I also had a lot of issues with our lawyer about the PTO. We're not allowed to do all these things that other towns do. We can't have runs. We can't do this. We can't do that. So
we have a different firm now. So
well, let's hope that, because under Kate, we had a lot of people telling me how liable we were when other people were not liable for certain things. And I think it does.
I mean, the only way you know for sure that you're liable is when you lose a lawsuit.
Well, I know that, Tony.
But
I'm not,
saying, like,
right, but I just feel like if everyone else,
answers.
I know if everyone else jumps off a bridge, you shouldn't let them. But I just think, facing the realities of childcare today, that if a parent thinks their 4th grader can get off the bus and, without someone there, I just don't think that it's our job to tell them.
I'm also uncomfortable with changing policy.
It's not policy.
I'm uncomfortable with changing things in response to people's child care difficulties. I understand why. I would really want to talk to the lawyer, because I think that there's some real liability issues here. So I think we need to run it by the lawyer, and then I'm
so tired of liability issues. Everyone said nobody could drive their kid. No, we couldn't have kids drive themselves to sports because of liability issues. I think people just throw that out there because they're not lawyers.
I have a question. Are you saying other towns are just letting their kindergartners get
Yes, that is absolutely true. My friend works in Groton Dunstable, and you do not have to be at the bus stop.
I used to live at the apartments over by Welham, and you have to walk to wherever you are. And the idea of a parent being able to sign a form to let their kindergartner walk on.
There's also no.
I didn't suggest kindergarten. I didn't suggest kindergarten. So that's.
I also think the sidewalk issue, not to bring that up, but the Whalum area, in my area, I agree with that, to let a kindergartner through 4th grade get off and walk. There's no sidewalks to walk on, and they don't drop door to door.
No, they don't.
You have to cross a very busy street to get to the bus stop.
I live on a dead
My
end.
son does it every day, but he's a high schooler now, so that's not a big deal. But for primary age students, I would really worry about that.
Jody just texted me and said she'll ask the lawyers.
Yeah, okay. I think
let's do that. I think that my concern is that there are a lot of competing issues. I don't know why we don't let kids get tattoos. I'm sure there's a great reason, but there's statutes in almost every state that bars kids from getting tattoos.
Talk to my 11-year-old.
So we have some instances in which we're fine
Tony,
with it.
but Tony, I am telling you that there are 2 districts that abut us that don't have any requirements at all. So I would like a justification of why we have the requirements and other districts do not feel compelled to have these.
I mean, I don't think we're going to ever have our lawyers be able to get another district to tell us why they're doing something or not doing something.
Do you know which district?
Groton, Dunstable, and Air Shirley. My neighbors moved to Lunenburg, and they had to change their child care.
If you ask them and they're why are you guys being irresponsible? They're going to be we're not. So I just don't know how fruitful it would be to try to do comparison between why our lawyers feel one way and why their lawyers feel another way. I think we should just make the decision based on what our lawyers tell us. But I don't think we can make that decision tonight. I think this is a good issue, and I see both sides.
I mean,
right?
I just hope that people at the table can see both sides of why
I
that's
definitely
because,
see both sides.
if you're in that in your life, right?
Sure.
Do you want it? You can't get into the after-school program because the after-school program is packed. So if you don't sign up the first day, you can't get into the after-school program. If you only need it for 10, 15 minutes a day, right? You're spending over $400 a month to send your child to after-school care for literally 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, I agree.
Where if the school didn't care, you would allow your kid who's 10 to get off the bus for 10 minutes by themselves.
Well, the other side of it is, suppose you had, a little guy who, I was 7 in 3rd grade. So I get off the bus. I was short for my age. I got there, and I'm walking down, Electric Avenue where there's no sidewalks. The police are going to pull me over. So, be what are you doing?
But you're not the 7-year-old's parent.
Right, but the
It's not
parent
the
of the
school's
7-year-old is
job
going to certainly
parent
hear
the
that.
7-year-old.
Actually, it is until they hit their front door.
Let's have the lawyers give us.
If that
let's have a
7-year-old
good
got hit by a
answer.
car on the side of Electric Ave, that's on us.
I think we
so
should.
afraid of getting sued.
No, I'm afraid of kids getting hit by cars, Mandy. I'm not afraid of getting sued. I am afraid of children getting hurt.
Let's.
Like,
I think
And I'm going to have all the parents who care about this come to the next meeting. I
Sure.
told them all they couldn't come. They didn't have to come today.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I think it's a good idea to do that.
Because I
went through
do
this,
think,
like,
I think
4
if you
years
sent a
ago.
survey out, that it was not 4 years ago, because my kids have already been in the school district 5 years. It was before my kids started here.
Was it your first?
So it was
It
not,
was.
it's been at least 5 years.
Yes. And I raised a lot of the objections that you're raising. I was like, why is it any of our business? And, we got an answer, and the answer was what you have been told. And I don't necessarily think that it should be an open and shut issue. I think that there are good reasons. Like one of the things that should it be based on whether or not there are sidewalks where your kids walk? I mean, I don't know.
I think that's an administrative issue,
It is very hard to put rules on something so nuanced of, is your child mature to get off the bus or not? Because I'll be honest, I had a 5th grader who was not mature enough to get off the bus by herself. And so I met the bus every day because she couldn't handle that.
So that was your choice.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was
your
my
choice.
choice.
And I mean, my
Well, it
5th
becomes
grader,
difficult
I'll
'cause
leave
if
him
it's,
home.
oh, let's just push it down to
Right.
4th grade because someone asked us to do
Yeah.
4th grade.
It gets tricky.
Well, then why not 3rd grade? It gets complicated. So I'd like to review what the arguments were last time we did this.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. I think that, and I think it's a good idea to have the parents come. Because I think if we hear people and they give us like real world examples, it might persuade people.
I have 3 parents I know who've complained about me.
I'm sure you will be able to mobilize people.
One of my neighbor, her and Kate had a whole thing about it.
All right. Is there anything else we want to do about the consent policy right now? I think we should wait till the superintendent gets back and run it by new lawyers and see what they say.
Okay. But I use a general commentary about our old lawyers because the PTO, they would not let us have a fun run. Every other school in the state has a fun run, and our lawyers under Kate would not let us have
There's
a
a
fun
reason
run.
we have new lawyers.
Don't you guys do miles for miles?
No.
No.
The other schools do a fun run in the middle of the day, and they raise 20, 30 grand.
And it's super fun.
Kate and the lawyers said, nope, because we don't want liability for people to fall on their face and hurt themselves. Like, they're in gym, they could fall on their face and hurt themselves. But, like, they can't run around the school and do that.
You get your jaw broken in, Jen.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know why we can't have a fun run.
All right.
Sorry, it's been 2 hours and I'm just...
All right, let's get on to old business. The action item is to second read of the policies. Can we waive the second reading too?
Yeah, can we just vote to
Let's
waive it?
waive.
Motion to waive the
I'm going to
second-
motion to waive the second reading of these policies.
Excellent. I mean,
Can
is
you-
there a second?
Can you read aloud what the policies are, though?
The policies that we are handling of cash, student data, privacy and security, administration of medications, and advertising in school, the Amy King advertising procedure or policy. She was the one that was like, hey, we need to get some money. I was like, sounds good. I love money.
Yep, second Mandy's motion.
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Also,
Liza?
on the motions, are we going to have, I got my kids' permission slips for their field trips, and we had talked about putting together a policy about allowing people to donate to pay
Oh, that's a good
for
idea.
other people's field trips.
Liz, can you put that on the agenda for the next policy?
Just that we could, this was actually a Laura thing, well, not her thing, but she told me they do this at
Yeah, they
Parker,
do this at
where you
Parker.
could just check a box and say, I will pay for another child.
It says I'll pay for all or some of another child's
Field trip.
another student's field trip, and then you can. But those are all online payments, which makes it easier too.
All right, so
What happens if no other child needs?
I was just going to say that.
It,
Well, I think we
it
would-
goes into a field trip fund.
Yeah, I think we would need, we would
And
need to
there's
have that in
always-
the policy though, right, I think.
I'm sure there is
Yeah.
always, but like,
you can come up here.
Yeah, you got it.
You're supposed to be up there anyway.
But now we're done.
I was gonna say we're like done.
Okay. The next thing is superintendent evaluation. So Hermione has already handed hers in.
Teachers.
I
do the homework
can't
first.
believe how early this was. So I made this offer.
Just tell me if I
Yeah.
Does she have a presentation to do to us, or it's just the evidence linked to in the?
Well, if she does, then I'll get in touch with her and we'll figure it out. But
Okay, I don't think so.
If anybody would
Yeah,
like
the
to go, just one person with one person through the evaluation process, I'm happy to sit down. It will probably be at Smokestack. I'm just going to say that because they have delicious coffee.
Okay.
And I'm happy to
Yes,
go through it.
you and I are going to go through it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, the
Let's
next
make sure I do
thing, public comment for issues discussed tonight. Basically, due process.
So, can I ask a question? We have public comment for issues discussed prior, and then public comment for issues discussed tonight. If you want to just be crazy and rant, where do those people get to go?
They don't. That's on purpose. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm like,
They can pick one.
They can like, if you're that crazy at ranting, you can shoehorn it in
not
somewhere.
that it stops people, but
Right. We've had,
I
yeah.
mean, you could just pick something random you want to rant about. And just...
Okay.
There's no one online.
Okay. Student.
At all? If they're all gone?
Any updates?
I don't have a report. I was zoomed in just to hear what was going on. I was dyeing my hair, but then things got chaotic.
That's why you're back. I was wondering if I was trying to figure out why you're.
I thought you came from the coal mine.
Me too. I was like, oh my God, I hope she's okay.
Yeah,
I literally was
dyeing
thinking.
my hair while on the Zoom, trying to rinse out my hair, turning up the volume, and then I was like, I have to come in.
You got so fired up you came in? That's it, I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Only Mary does that.
My hair was done rinsing, and I was like, no,
I am so glad that you did not come from a coal mine or something.
Yeah, I was like, that's why I didn't come sit up here, because I was like, I'm purple.
That's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Looks nice.
I turned bright red up here.
You could tell, John Voight, you have the black lung pop, like in Zoolander.
I'm just too young.
All right.
she was too young for
Oh, that's right.
Does she even know what that movie is?
Do you know what Zoolander is?
Yes.
Oh, see?
It's a classic, apparently.
I'm not that old. Reports from subcommittee. I know that one person went to a subcommittee.
I did. I went to a subcommittee. I went for Tony. I went to the high school subcommittee. They did great. No, they worked it out. They're working on waiting on the budget, like all of us. That includes scheduling. So all the kids have registered. They have put in their requests for registering, but we are waiting until the budget comes through in order to figure out exactly what they're going to do. They went through some new hires, that they have to hire a few new people. Mrs. Chusignat is moving to the middle school. She's going to be the new, I can say that, right? It was a public meeting. Okay. Mrs. Chusignat is going to be the vice principal at the middle school. So there will be a new vice principal at the high school. I'm sorry, I didn't take very good notes, but those are the things I can remember.
Anything else?
I was surprised about Mrs. Chusignat just because I was, so that's why I was like, oh my God, am I not supposed to say that? But it was a public meeting we were at.
When do the subcommittees meet? Because I've never heard about that until right now.
which one? So there's a high school.
So it's the high school
advisory
committee?
council.
So it's a few teachers. It's from some parents.
Teachers, one member of the school committee, and then the admin. And you can go. It's an open meeting. They're usually right after school, like 3:30.
Yep,
And
it's
they're
once a
on the
month.
town calendar.
Yep.
Mona sends out invites.
I went for Tony and obviously did a mediocre job.
Better than me. Anybody else have a subcommittee report?
I just have a subcommittee announcement
Sure.
tomorrow at 6, I believe. The Taxel is meeting. It's their final meeting of the year, so if you'd like to join.
And we'll be voting.
Oh, yes, and they will be voting for new members, new
Officers.
officers.
So please come.
Impact Sal's been really active this year, so
Getting there.
there's people coming. The school advisory committee for the middle school met. We did staffing updates. Mrs. Juicy to Turkey Hill. So they'll be hiring a new vice principal.
I know, you say something and then you're like, oh my God.
Does everybody know that?
Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
The DC trip is this month.
Woohoo!
There's 80 kids going. MCAS is tomorrow and Friday. And Dr. Sarfty got the MyCap grant, and we talked about No, that was about it. Just, the career and academic planning that's going to start in 8th grade.
Excellent.
That the state's now requiring.
Sounds
So,
good. All the kids are going to say they want to be a YouTuber. It'll be fantastic.
And the 300th committee, I don't think I'm on that for this. I think I'm just on it. But the 300th committee met and talked about.
You guys have a new logo.
Yeah, we got
It's
a new
cool.
logo.
Look at that logo.
It was a teacher.
It was very
at the
cool.
School,
Yep.
and it was amazing, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And I should bring it
All right.
with me. And then we did the municipal building design committee. Everybody is leaving TCP. We talked about how expensive the roof would be just for the gym, cafeteria, and restrooms, and how it's kind of unaffordable right now. And then your father was like, why don't we use TCP? And circled back to the original iteration of
Oh, Josie, I heard this.
the Municipal Building Design Committee. So right now, we're in a holding pattern because we are going to be sending out a survey to all the departments to ask, what do you want, and also what do you need, and what are you using currently, so that we can start to take inventory of space requirements.
Can I propose something for the 300th
Oh, yeah,
anniversary?
sorry.
I think we should have a townie crown and see who the biggest townie is.
Oh, we should make them fight.
No, just have give them like a speech where they can say at town
Dawn
meeting.
Johnson is in. I already told her.
Oh, the townie crown? Okay.
And then I thought we should get Peter Beardmore.
Peter, Mandy.
What? Me?
Of course.
No. Dawn gets.
Come on.
My mom gets.
The
first
Gilchrist.
dibs.
I think Dawn would take her down. I'm
Dawn
sorry.
is gonna take me
Doesn't
down.
have that many counties.
No, the Gilchrist, the family.
Oh.
They still live in town. Is this not correct? I asked you when we were at town meeting. Yeah, they've been here for
The Proctor's Dawn.
It's named after them. Yeah, they're still here. We need a townie crown.
Tell
So
your
just-
dad.
I did.
Hunt them down.
He thinks he knows them.
He knows them?
Yes.
He should invite me and them over for pizza.
Sounds good.
This would be,
Tell them that.
I think,
Okay.
actually, that would be a fun, game show.
Townie crown, let's go.
Like,
And we
Tim
can-
Murphy
yeah.
has so much fun with his.
And we can have the winner answer
With the questions.
Lunenburg questions.
Questions,
Yeah?
yeah.
All right. Done. That was my one suggestion.
Yeah,
Townie crown.
300th
Okay.
anniversary. I also
Or can
learned
we
that.
paint all the lakes?
Can we what?
Yes.
You guys skip the-
Can you what?
Because Trump's repainting the reflecting pool for the
You want to
250.
paint the bottom? Yeah.
We should paint all the lakes.
I think I'll be a middle finger. Anybody else have anything they want to add now that I completely derailed this for the 400th time tonight? Topics for future discussion. Obviously, the 5th grade consent form. I would really like to hear from parents. I think this is something that is difficult. There are good arguments on both sides. I do not know how I would decide.
It's fine. I just think it's something I would like people to. They did offer. 2 people offered to come tonight, and I was like, oh, it's fine.
Also, it is super fun when Mandy gets fired up.
I just feel like everything we do is so boring and lame. I would like to help people with something that actually
That was
affects their
we
daily
had
lives.
a great argument about due process. It was boring and late. All right. Anybody else have anything we want to do, or do we want to get out of here at 9:20?
Motion to adjourn at 9:20.
Looking for a second?
Second,
All in
third.
favor?
Yes.
Aye, for myself. Let's go.